This second part of our interview is brought to you by Restoration Pharmacy, 1385 Stuyvesant Avenue, Union, New Jersey. We take care of all your medication needs. We also deliver. Call us at 908-688-8866 or visit us at www.restorationpharmacy.com.
Let's go to something else you said at the town hall. You were asking the Biafrans here to give $1 a month towards Biafra. At the same time, you said that all of you in America that failed to contribute, you will not be allowed into Biafra. No. A Biafran sympathizer, this is something that was happening while you were talking on Facebook, wrote that this person said, I'm a Biafran sympathizer, but hearing you say that, I'm just bringing the issue of perception, said that this one will be a worse tyrant than Buhari. Is that what you are going for? Do you want people to misunderstand? When you are saying, like you said now, that you care about what you say, do you worry about the perception, how people will react to that? Especially, this is not an outsider, this is somebody who is Igbo, who is a Biafran, who is interested in getting Biafra.
And who is not prepared to contribute.
Well, that's a different thing. But the point is that when he's reacting to the issue of that if you don't contribute, you will not be allowed into Biafra. Isn't there a better way to frame this sentence?
No, there's not a better way, because I don't like sugarcoating my words. I say the way that it is. We've lost men and women. As I'm speaking to you, a 2-year-old child is in detention in Ikotebene because of Biafra. 2 years. And you have somebody with the luxury of the biggest hamburger that man can afford, of pizza and limitless soda. When they go to a restaurant, sitting in America pontificating, refusing to get involved and not contributing, and they will not come into Biafra, and God is my witness, they will not come in. I swear on my life they won't. If you're in America, let me say this. I want them to devote their time towards sabotaging this very effort. I want to prove to them that God is in charge of what is happening and that Biafra must come. And when Biafra does come, no amount of apology, no amount of begging, no amount of pleading will allow or make the Biafran state to lift this very ban, which we shall impose. It's not about me, because I will not lead Biafra. My job is to make sure that Biafra comes. After that, all of you will decide.
But you sure that the people, you sure that the people that you will hand over the Biafra will come to this conclusion?
Absolutely. They are the ones that decided in the first place.
And how will that be implemented? I mean, just let's look at it technically.
The same way it is in Kosovo. Once you come, we have IPOB all over the place in America. Once you land at the airport, we look at your name, we go through the entire data we have as to sponsors and contributors. And if your name is not there, you go back to America.
Wow. Okay, but this is something else that people...
No, we are not stupid. You see, blacks should stop thinking, black people in general should stop thinking that things can come just easily like that. Let alone to me, if I were Trump, I would put every black person back to wherever they come from. Go and make something of yourself. Contribute. We are enjoying the benefits of medical advancement today, owing to research that people did, owing to funding and grants that came from people that maybe lost their grandfather, their father, or their relative to a very terrible disease. And out of anger towards that disease and no society, they contributed their entire life savings towards cancer research or maybe research into any of the deadly diseases. And today you're enjoying it. And when they ask you to donate for us to find a cure for sickle cell, you say no as a black person. Donate, let us find a cure for diabetes, you say no. But you want others to donate, a cure can be found so you can benefit from it. That is evil.
Now, are there other examples of people who fought for struggles that took this path? What I mean by this path is, like the civil rights movement. Did they take the path of saying that if you are not a contributor, you won't benefit from that? Is there any other movement anywhere in the world, Hamas, any other group, I don't know, any group that could take that kind of position. And what do you want? How do you want people to interpret this? Because again, that's the perception that I'm concerned about. What do you want? What example can you give of a movement?
Kosovo did it.
The people in Kosovo.
Absolutely, they did. I said it tomorrow morning. You see,
and it worked for them.
Of course, it worked. It worked because your apathy, those of you in America, because of your lukewarm attitude and, should I say, wickedness towards your fellow countrymen and women back home, that is why the Fulanis are there today killing us. So rather than finding a solution, helping, assisting, and saying, how do I support? All they're interested in is, they call him a supreme leader, trying to find an excuse not to participate. Trying to find an excuse to excuse their own wickedness and ignorance of what is happening on the ground. Are they not aware that people are being killed? Are they not aware of all this? And you want to sit down, is it it doesn't work like that.
Have you tried the other part of the other option, which is to appeal, to educate? You said that part of the process is to educate, and then the referendum, and then the Biafra. Have you exhausted that aspect? I mean, this is the first time that I believe that you've been in America, meeting a lot of people. And I'm not saying you've not been here before, but I mean meeting a lot of people, having that opportunity to interact with people. Have you tried that before going to what I think I would say, I mean, the extreme, the final solution, you know?
Are you telling me they're not aware of what's happening back home?
No, it's not about being aware. It's about, what I'm saying is that you are talking about people who may not be contributing. How appeal to them? How?
I don't need to appeal to them
before
to save their lives. No, I won't appeal to you. If you're hungry, I won't appeal to you to go and eat. You look for food to go and eat. There is something I call rudimentary consciousness. You must have empathy. That if you're a human being. That is why when there was famine in Ethiopia, people were dying of hunger. It took but girl of a white man to organize some kind of relief aid to go into Ethiopia to save people. African countries were busy looting money from the national treasury. None of them ever contributed not a single dime to alleviate the suffering of the people. There is a limit to the wickedness of a black person, and I am not prepared to tolerate it any further. We can't keep condoning evil, and when the evil will go away. If you're in America, you're a Biafran, and you have steadfastly refused to engage or contribute towards this very effort, you do not deserve to be called a human being. You are what, an animal. You are evil. That's what it means.
Hi, I'm Dr. Damages. Do high fees damage your wallet when you send money home? I've got the damage control. Use Wave for no fee transfers. Remember the promo code DOCTOR for $5.
So when we left off, we were talking about some of the statements you make, and some people used to think that you're looking for shock value. I'll give you an example. When you said that Biafra, you said that when you do not believe in, if you don't believe in Biafra, you are not going to make heaven.
Yes.
All over the place. It was headline everywhere. And during the town hall, somebody raised the issue, and you explained that the heaven you meant was Biafra. That if you don't believe in Biafra, you will not make. If you don't believe in Biafra, you will not make. You know. So I'm asking, and people are asking that question. When are you saying what you're saying, or when are you talking in parable, or because the explanation you gave for that, you said that the Yoruba media, that they came to you and they were questioning, do you have the key to heaven? Which means it's not just Yoruba media. I believe that there are some people, and then some of the people who I told I was coming to talk to you said I should ask you this question. Some people who are evil, who are sympathetic to the cause you are fighting for, have that question, you know.
And the question is, do I have the key to heaven?
No. When you said that, were you referring to heaven? And how do they know when you say you can't come into Biafra, whether you mean go into heaven, whether you mean Biafra or you mean heaven?
I wish to clarify this.
Yeah, please.
if you're against Biafra, that means you're against God in heaven. Chukwukikabiyama, that we praise and worship. And God is a God of freedom. You can't be against freedom and you expect to make heaven. It's not possible, you will not. Both the spiritual heaven that is up there in the firmament and this very heaven on this earth we are building, or we are seeking to build, which is Biafra. You will not make any heaven at all. Perhaps I wasn't quite clear enough, and let me clarify. If you are against Biafra, you will not go to heaven. Not the heaven to go and see the Messiah, and not to enter Biafra, which is heaven on this very earth.
But
you will not make it. There's no ifs or buts about it.
And
you will not. Categorically, because you are against what God Himself ordained.
somebody watching this will be thinking, what did God tell you that? How do you?
And I will tell you how I know.
Yeah.
I know because if you're against the will of God, if you perpetually and consistently without repentance go against the will of God, you cannot enter heaven. That is a given fact. It's a doctrine of religion, of every faith. I hasten to add. I cannot see how you can claim you're praising God whilst you're against people who are fighting for their freedom. If you take into consideration, as very clearly enunciated in the High Declaration, that Nigeria was never created by God. Nigeria is a man-made creation. To make it worse, it wasn't even created by Africans. Do we take that as a fact? Mm-hmm. Is that a fact?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does the name Nigeria mean anything to you? I'm asking you as a Nigerian.
No.
Does it mean anything to you?
No.
Do you also agree with me that the only thing you can give a name to and it will bear it quite confidently and proudly is an animal? Do you agree with me? Do you have a cat or a dog at home?
I mean, your kids, you can give them names.
No.
Do you have answer? They will answer that.
No, I'm coming. Do you have a cat?
I don't have.
But they have the right to change it. So if I name my child...
Nigeria could change the name.
No, I'm coming.
Nigeria.
I'm coming.
Mm-hmm.
If you name your child .com, for instance, this child is named .com, or at least you are the father of that child. That's what you're saying. Is England the father of Nigeria? The answer is no. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is this. The stupidity that is prevalent in the brain of a black person is what I'm attacking. Not black people, but the stupidity that resides in our genes. That's what I'm fighting. And the sooner they understand it, the better for everybody. People have come up to us to say that what IPOB is doing inspired our separatist agitations in our countries all over Africa. You know, so what is rising up in Ghana as well, of all places. That tells you, because the truth we are preaching resonates everywhere. And you cannot be against truth and freedom and you think God will love you. It's not possible. It's not possible.
Now, let's look at this. During the run-up to the election in 2019, you insisted that there will not be election in Biafra land.
Yes.
And you urged Biafrans not to participate. A few days to the election, you changed your mind and said that something about the demands have been met.
Yes.
There's a staunch supporter of Biafra who told me that that was when you lost him. Now, the issue is not about the demands that were met, that you did not explain what demands that were met. The issue was not about the fact that Biafrans or people who support you, who are your supporters, could not vote anymore because they didn't get the voters card by the time you said they could now vote. The issue was he felt that you were talking down on him as a follower, on your follower, and that they don't deserve accountability or transparency. They don't know why. They don't, what can you address people like that? And there are many who felt that at that point they already believed that there won't be election. They are not going to participate. All of a sudden you turned around without any explanation. What would you say to someone?
So if I send them into battle and I say advance, and as their commander, later on I say stop. So they will continue to advance because the instructions I gave before was to keep marching and not to stop. And when they continue marching and they meet a superior firepower and they die in the process, they will say, let them to their death. These are people who maybe, or maybe we conspired, we're wearing a light blue sky blue shirts today, and they will complain and say, why not white? They will always have a reason or justification to claim we're supporting him before, but not anymore. The reason being, IPOB represents the yearnings and aspirations of our people, and we are Republicans. Apart from the conditions that we are met, which, as I said, I will reveal in due course, one of the critical things that must be demonstrated by our people is that IPOB has the interest of our people at heart. And when people speak and say, allow us to do this, you must allow them to do it. Allow them to go and vote, to show them that their vote does not count. That PVC is useless. People say, oh, but his supporters. Who are our supporters? Every Biafran, genuine Biafran, is a supporter of IPOB. And when people go out to vote, all the people voting in the East are all IPOB. When we say sit at home, they sit at home. In another election, we said don't vote, and like 7% did not vote. Go and ask INEC, and they will tell you. That was why they were panicking over our boycott threat to the presidential elections. So if you want, before you lead the people, you need to understand that. That is why no Igbo group functions anywhere in the world, because they don't understand the psyche of our people. Our people, number one, they want the truth and consistency. When you change your mind or direction, you explain to them why, and which I did time and time again. Our people said that if you don't do this now, we know that you don't listen to instructions. You're not prepared to listen to other views. Do you understand me? So in order to carry the same critical mass along, we need to give them what they want, which is an opportunity to prove that your PVC is useless, which we've done. Is anybody doubting us anymore that PVC is useless in the zoo? No doubts whatsoever. So I don't want people to always look for an excuse as to why they cannot be part of it. It's either it's called Supreme Leader, it's called Lord and Savior, and now it's because of election. Before I left the US, they will say maybe because I didn't go to Massachusetts. That's why I won't support. After I went to New York, Atlanta, and all these other places.
One more question about perception and things you said. There was a statement you made maybe in 2015 where you said that 99.9% of Igbo girls are prostitutes. You defended this by saying that you had no empirical proof, that you had no scholarship to back up what you said, and no field research. Just your application of the law of deduction, that was what you said. Now, you also said, and I quote, if you are attending a Yoruba church, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Yes.
Anyone who attends a church with a Yoruba pastor is an idiot.
Yes.
A complete fool, an imbecile. I have no time for them. They are worse than Boko Haram. They are very, very foolish. If your pastor is Yoruba, you are not fit to be a human being. Now, I know a fan of the Biafran struggle who is a woman and attends a church that has a Yoruba pastor. She just doesn't understand why you talk that way. Do you have anything to say to her?
Because most of the difficulties we've been having have always come from these Yoruba pastors. Some of them are good. I have no doubt in every society you have the good, you have the bad, and you have the ugly. I don't spare our people either, do I? No. Do I?
No, no.
Have I spared Ohaneze and the governors?
No.
Have I even spared my own soul? Because I don't have a lot of time for self-pity. Yoruba Pentecostalism is the reason why Fulanis are invading us today.
How?
Because they failed to stand in the pulpit to defend the people by speaking the truth into their congregation. That's the reason why.
Are they doing it in
Kumuyi supported Jubril. Every Yoruba pastor knows that Buhari is dead. They know it. They know that that thing they are saying in Asarok is not Buhari. Everybody knows, including yourself. You all know the truth. But because coming out in the open to concede that the man is not Buhari will mean that Nnamdi Kanu will score a cheap point of "I told you so," and Nigeria will remain one if we don't reveal this very horrible secret. That is why they are doing it. You cannot expect me to have regard for anybody who is a Biafran, perhaps answering in Kechinyan or Chukwuenenye, going to a church pastored by somebody who is called Kumuyi or Suleman, a former Muslim, now turned a Christian, and you're telling me to have regard for you. What is their name? What is the meaning of their name? I answer Ikechukwu by my name, by virtue of the name that I answer. I give praise to God in heaven. And you're going to a church.
Are you saying that Yoruba names don't have meaning?
No. I'm not saying that.
Okay,
you see, it's within the context of praise and worship.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that he was a former Muslim, and today he's a Pentecostal preacher.
That's Suleman.
Supporting, I said all Yoruba pastors, supporting an Islamic fundamentalist agenda.
Suleman is not in support of Apostle Suleman. Is not in support of.
He said you shouldn't criticize Jubril. That's what he said a few weeks ago. You're asking us not to criticize a murderous dictator. Yeah, in what planet do these people inhabit? If Archbishop Desmond Tutu, adopted this docile support the dictator approach, where would South Africa be today? People talk about Dr. King all the time. Was Dr. King not a reverend? I'm asking you.
No, I'm saying, I wanted to know, the Igbo reverends, are they doing better? Are they doing better than Yoruba or the Hausa?
Some of them are even worse. So, but what I'm trying to explain to you is that congregation of brainwashing that I do not like. The same gripe I have with a section of the Yoruba media that have turned our brains for over 50 years.
But whatever, I like because you bring up the Yoruba media all the time. Yes. I want to ask you, what happened to the Igbo media? Why are the Igbo media not taking up whatever complaints you have? Where are they?
We don't have any Igbo media to start with.
So whose fault is that?
And it's your fault. And those of you that live in America that will not support any good initiative. After all, when we started Radio Biafra, none of you supported in America. We fought until we had to give our people a voice. We raised Radio Biafra to fight the negative reporting and the negative narratives emanating from a section of the Yoruba media. That's why we founded Radio Biafra, and I'm glad we've succeeded in correcting some of the damage they did to our people.